Hello, House of Metamorphosis Tribe. Welcome back to the channel where we're having conversations about looking at hairdressing and creating identities for people from the inside out, changing the future of how we look at our vocation through the lens of professionalism, through the evolved hairdresser. And today's topic is a little interesting one again, and that is, are you leading or are you being led? Ooh. When I came up with this statement, it was me reflecting about, hairdressers that lead are really grounded and solid in themselves. They are so present and connected to their own roots and their own style and their own authenticity. They're not following a trend. They don't have everybody else's haircut. They don't have everybody else's color. They've got their own unique style. They throw their clothes together uniquely. They do their hair uniquely, and they envisage themselves to be their own authentic identity and stamp in the world. And they're the ones that I call the artist. And there's a whole personality matrix that we do at the House of Metamorphosis through the Evolve curriculum, where you go through a series of questions and tests to find out who it is that you are, what archetype that you actually stand for in the hairdressing field, something that's never been done before, where you get to sort of really identify who it is that you are. And the archetype that I am speaking to here is the artist. Now, in the conscious evolved hairdresser realm, the archetype of the artist is somebody that is they need to create. They need to constantly come up and recreate themselves, re-identify themselves, because they are aware of their evolution. And I find this archetype in the hairdressing matrix to be one of the most authentic of all the archetypes. And they're usually the ones that have got a lot of clientele. They're usually booked out in advance because their art is seeked out. They're usually the ones that have got word of mouth clients that come to them. They don't market, they don't advertise. It spreads like wildfire through the world, through the community, that, hey, you need to go and see so-and-so because so-and-so is amazing. They're an amazing artist, right? They create art. But more so, they represent art. They represent authenticity. And the reason why I'm actually really bringing up this archetype today is because that is the people that have always naturally evolved to that have never walked the beat of somebody else's drum, that have always walked to the beat of their own drum, and have maybe been criticized for doing that in the past, but not following suit, not being socially sort of in line, not following fashion, not following any of those things. They create fashion, they create style, they create the evolution of authenticity and identity and personality. They are responsible, let's just say, in this, it's a really big word saying that, but they feel responsible for creating authentic art for their clients. And they're the leaders. I actually see hairdressers that are the artists that walk to their own beat of their drum as leaders in their craft. They are empowered, they are aware, and they are usually the people that see beyond the illusion. And they will be the ones that potentially may not be creating a spell of glamour or through glamour or using glamour as a spell, They're more interested in bringing out the best attributes and characteristics of their clients so that their clients can walk proudly and confidently in the world. They're already doing this, but they're not aware of the language. They're not aware of the psychology behind what it is that they're doing. And these are leaders. This is a reflection of, I'm going to say this gracefully, this is a reflection of unconsciousness, even though it's conscious, but the unconsciousness of what leadership is in the industry, what it shows up in right now, in our world, in the industry, in this day. Now, people that are led, hairdressers that a client will come in with a picture and say, I want to look like this. And you feel completely, obligated to create that look for your client, regardless of whether you think it's going to suit them or not, because you just want to make them happy. And these are usually the empaths, I find. This is another personality matrix archetype in the Evolve curriculum. And these are usually the empaths that I find. The empaths that are the ones that usually in a salon environment, in a team environment, will be the pleasers, the ones that just want to please their clients, the ones that will never test the status quo, the ones that will always just do what they're told, the ones that will follow suit, the ones that will, be told something and take it at face value for being a truth without inquiring deeper into what that may be, how that will affect them and will affect their clients. They just do what they're told. And they absorb. They come from a very good place, but they're actually just trying to please everybody and make everything stable, pleasant, balanced, and okay in the salon environment. They are usually the ones that will not create ruffles. They're usually the ones that will absorb any negative energy in the environment from clients and from team members to neutralize the energy. So there's two sides to these, right? And let's look at the shadow aspect of the artist. Ego, first one. The artist can have a very overinflated ego, can feel godlike. They're masters of, they're master craftsmen, and they've taken that on as a godlike archetype, as a godlike presence, which is quite looking for the word here to say, it's quite pressing for, say, for instance, an empath in your environment to be around that, where they don't meet up to that energy in terms of, being able to stand in their power and being able to take charge and being able to, be their authority in their own self. So it's quite intimidating. There's the word. It's intimidating for somebody in your environment to do that. There's one thing to be an artist, but to actually fall into the light of the artist. The light of the artist inspires and encourages and sees their work as absolute pleasurable art, that every single personality and person that they work with is a unique reflection of their own authentic art. They don't have a God complex. They don't allow their egos to get the better of them. They are humble. They are just master craftspeople that are aware that it's taken them years to probably come to this point, and they are humbly sitting in that, in their own power and authenticity. They're not intimidating anybody. They're not overinflating their ego onto their team to make everybody like hierarchical, feeling in the salon where I'm the leader and I am the be all and end all in this salon and everybody else is below me. That's a hierarchical model. And yes, you may see that as leadership and leading. But the new version of leading is not through that hierarchical model. It's not through that hierarchical model at all. It's actually through the model of team, of congruent, of meeting each other and actually being a united front where everybody has their role in the salon, but nobody overrides or over inflates over another, so that another person, say for instance like an empath, is not feeling intimidated and is unable to bring their best through their nature. This is something that you learn and evolve. This is why this is really important. Understanding the characteristics of people. And it's not that they're, an empath can't lead. They will lead through a very different light. They will lead through silence. They will lead through showing you, not telling you. And that's still leadership. It's just a different form of leadership. It's an emotional leadership. That's where they come from, because they're usually clairsentient. So it's an emotional leadership, whereas an artist potentially will be a vocal leadership. It's driven by passion and power, and they're extroverts, whereas an empath is an introvert usually. So you've got two different dynamics playing out here that could very easily lead through their own light. So there can't be judgment passed just because you've got an empath opposed that could potentially be an artist as well, but they're an empath, an empathetic artist, to an extroverted artist that still leads in a very vocal way. So how do we actually not allow, the extroverted artist to overpower the introverted empath that's capable of leadership, but is doing it in a different way, and not be led, but to lead and to give everybody the opportunity to be leaders. This is empowering your team. And I'm coming through this because I find that a lot of salons are still running a hierarchical model of leadership. Yes, you need somebody to lead the team. Yes, you need someone that's the visionary, but that's just a role that they're playing. They're not overriding their other team members without getting their input on how they're feeling. And this is a key factor. If you're being a conscious leader for the future, you're not overriding your team's input in how you are all collectively moving forward. And you probably find that if you're just doing all the leading and all the thinking and all the visionary and all the everything, you're exhausted. You're exhausted. And that's because you're pushing a hierarchical model, which is collapsing, by the way. The new model, the holistic model, if I want to bring it through that, the conscientious model is how is your whole team responding to the movement and the vision of the salon? How are they all agreeing? Is everybody's input involved in the growth and the movement, the forward movement direction of your salon and your future? Of how you see your space evolving. That is leadership. Being led is following an old system of, well, I'm the boss, or I'm the manager, or I'm the lead stylist, and I'm going to lead everybody, and everybody's got to do what I say. And that is, again, an old hierarchical model that is not going to cut it, especially with the new juniors, the new young people that are wanting to come into this industry. They will not flow with that mindset. They're coming from a place of working together as a team, of being a part of a community, being a part of a tribe in their salon, where their voice is just as it, from the youngest to the eldest, every single person's voice is just as important as the other. And this is leadership. This is not being led by an old model and you don't know how to get out of it. And here it is. Here it is. Yeah, and I just feel like, I want to pose this question for you this week as to, what kind of a model of leadership are you running in your salons? How do your staff feel? Do you know how your staff feel? Do you have regular check-ins every day? In the morning and at night, you check in. Do you have closure for the day where everybody gets, 2-3 minutes to talk about how they feel coming into the day, and then 2-3 minutes at the end of the day of unpacking, how they're feeling now before they go home? These are all holistic, tools and skills that are needed to be brought into the salon to start really accessing the human experience and also bridging resonance and congruence and trust with your team that you're all in this together. This is how you're going to build trust with your clients, but more importantly, the trust needs to come from the in-house, from the way that your team is being led and how you're leading your team into union. This is where the power is going to come from. This is where the energetic transference into your community is going to be felt. This is the movement forward. This is leadership for the future of the hairdressing industry. Please, if you're feeling inspired by this content, click like, share, subscribe to this channel so it may grow. Share this video with other people that you feel may be aligned and inspired by this information. And please, if you're further inspired, please go to houseofmetamorphosis.au and check out the Evolve curriculum, the Initiation Self-Mastery course, and all the other juicy things that we've got there on the website to get you started on your future path to evolve. I look forward to speaking to you all soon. See you all later.